After almost 2 years of getting brand new courses in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Wave 6 has finally arrived. There are now a total of 96 courses in the game. That is insane for one single Mario Kart game in my opinion. And despite the fact that it means that the next Mario Kart game is probably still a few years away, I am very happy with what we have gotten since the DLC was first revealed. I want to talk about the new content that is included with Wave 6. To start, we got 4 new characters. I think it was safe to say that no one expected more than 2. Diddy Kong and Funky Kong alone make the game feel more complete, given the fact that those characters alone make it so that we have the entirety of the Wii roster now. But surprisingly, we also got Pauline and Peachette, which are both welcome additions in my eyes. And let's not forget about the music player that you can see in the main menu of the game. I may never use this myself, but I think it's a neat feature to add. Without further ado, let me share my thoughts on all the new courses that come with Wave 6. To start off with, we got Avanti from Mario Kart Tour. Like every other Tour city track, this one has multiple different routes on each lap. This one's a tad bit different though, as they had to make it so that some of the routes share the same road. Like for instance, the end of lap 1 and the start of lap 2. Hell, on lap 2 you even come back to the same area again. For some reason, I just really love it when the course meets up with itself like that, because it technically means you could potentially meet up and interact with racers who aren't even close to you. Another thing I like about this track is the part where you're racing around the Coliseum on the first lap, then through it again on the third lap, as you have to avoid the chain chomps, who have eaten part of the road, allowing you to trick off of it. I honestly think the design of this entire section was genius. Overall, the atmosphere on this track is very wonderful, and I think it is a top tier city course for sure. As much as I really wanted Dino Jungle to appear instead, I still very much enjoy DK Mountain, and I'm glad that at least one of them got in. It seems to me that everyone else loves this course just as much as I do, so I guess it's no surprise it was favored by the developers at Nintendo as well. I think this is a very good iteration of DK Mountain. However, I'm not a huge fan of the road design when it comes to the terrain at the top of the mountain. The reason I say that is because it kind of causes you to end up jumping in the air a lot. But once you get past the rocky area down to the curvy road, everything else about the track is just fine. When the track was first revealed, I thought the gap cut was going to be removed because there is now fencing in the way blocking it off. However, it is still possible, you just have to be more careful because you have to do a wide drift into it, making the landing less optimal than it was in Mario Kart Wii. It might not even be worth doing at all on 200cc, but maybe a better method than the one I currently use will be found eventually. One other detail I enjoy is the mountain itself having a glowing lava effect on its face. It makes the volcano seem more ominous and threatening. The track may not be perfect, but it's still just as fun as it always was. Now, I don't exactly have a whole lot to say about Daisy Circuit, but I gotta say that I was not expecting it to make a return. I'm really glad it did, because it is a very underrated gem for Mario Kart Wii. I always thought this track looked so beautiful, and the music was very relaxing in that game. It was one of my personal favorites. The Mario Kart 8 version does a great job retaining the great visuals and incredible music. I am very happy that they decided to bring this course back. Another thing I like about the track is that when you go into the new glider section, into the shortcut, you can kind of see the start of the track and kind of look down on other racers going by in the other direction. The design of this track may be rather simple, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm just glad to be able to play this track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think Piranha Cove is a great addition to the game because it seems a bit different to other water-based courses in the game. I just like how most of this course is underwater. The only other track I would say is comparable to this one in terms of gameplay is Dolphin Shoals, but even that track seems significantly smaller than this one. The parts of the track that aren't underwater don't seem to be very detailed, to be honest. Like for instance, just before dropping back into the water at the end of the island after the glider ramp. Like there's literally nothing going on there. But most of the detail for this track is underwater, which is fine because again, that's where most of the track takes place on. The track also has alternate routes like the city tracks do. But what really sells this course is the music. It sounds perfect for the theme. That, combined with the fact that this track looks the most like it could pass as a base game track over any other DLC track in the game, makes this a high tier track. It isn't my favorite, but it is probably a top 10 course for sure. I have to say, Madrid Drive is one of the most enjoyable city courses in the game. There's just so much going on throughout the race. There's this little dining area with the Wiggler on laps 1 and 2. Then you got the mall area just past that. You then encounter an art museum with a live piranha plant popping out of one of the paintings. Then you got a little market area with thwomps that get in your way. Then there's the geyser area and the soccer stadium that you eventually have to drive through, which is complete with Goombas kicking around giant soccer balls. Is there anything I'm missing? It's like every few seconds this track's throwing something new at you, and it makes it so much fun. By far the best city course in the game in my opinion, so I think it's great that they saved it to be the final city course in the game. I think it's safe to say that not one single person on the face of the planet expected Rosalina's Ice World to make a return. Out of all tracks in the DLC, it was by far the most unexpected choice of all time. I do think Rosalina's Ice World is a bit underrated because I genuinely enjoy the track, both in this game and in Mario Kart 7. I think it is a decent representation of Super Mario Galaxy. However, other than a few references and floating planets here and there, it still just feels like another winter-themed track. Don't get me wrong, I do love winter-themed courses, which is why I like this track so much, but there's just so many of them now that it can get sort of repetitive seeing the same theme over and over again. Then again, I know some people use that same logic with city courses, so there's that. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot going on. But it's still a nice track overall. Mario Kart 8 has been out for 10 years, and they finally decided it was a good time to add a retro Bowser's Castle stage. Despite it being an SNES course, they decided to completely revamp it to make it feel more like a brand new course. They even made an anti-gravity portion, which is amazing. My personal favorite part is in the middle, where you can choose between 3 different paths, or even ride one of the walls separating them. And then at the end, you can even jump over the thwomps who each have a coin on top of their heads. On top of it all, you have an absolute banger of a song to go along with it. The fact that the song is only like 20 seconds long and they still managed to make a perfect modernized remix of it is insane. This is by far one of the best courses in the entire Booster Course Pass. Funny enough, if I remember correctly, I think Wii Rainbow Road was the first Mario Kart track I ever played when I was little. I specifically remember struggling on it the first time I played because I didn't know it was supposed to be the final Nitro course of the game. Not that I knew what Nitro courses were at the time, but that's beside the point. It has been almost 15 years, and I can now play that very same track in my favorite Mario Kart game. The track has now been completely enhanced for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe experience, while maintaining everything that kept this track great in the first place. Wii Rainbow Road now fully takes place in anti-gravity, which is fitting because unlike tracks like Sky High Sundae, which also has full anti-gravity mechanics, this track takes place in space. It's also much more complex, which alone makes it more fun to play. They kept all the Super Mario Galaxy references in this version, and falling off the track still creates the meter effect around your vehicle just like it did in the original game. I mean, what's not to love about this course? It is the absolute perfect course to end off the Booster Course Pass, and there's nothing I can think of that is worth not giving this course a perfect score. With Wave 6 wrapping things up once and for all, it gives a great send-off to the Booster Course Pass with a credit sequence after completing the Spiny Shell Cup. Overall, I think Wave 6 had a great selection of courses to add to the game, and we can finally enjoy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in its full glory. After a little bit more time with these courses, I plan on making one last ranking video that briefly goes over all 48 DLC courses in one video, to share all my opinions that may have changed since I first made the video on each wave of DLC. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please check out my channel for more content, and with that being said, I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.